Okay, so now we know that we can put any code we want in here and it's going to be executed on the system. So let's have another look now at the statement. So the statement says select star from accounts where username is equal to the username that we put here and password is equal to the password that we put there. Let's see if we can use that to log in without using a password, without even knowing the password. And I'm going to be doing that with the admin. So with the admin, the username is going to be admin. And I don't know what the password is for the admin. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put anything. So nothing really, any random password. And in the code, what I should run here, we were doing and 1 is equal to 1 and or stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do or instead of and I'm going to say 1 is equal to 1. So what our code is going to be, once I run this, once I inject this, this is going to go in here like we were doing before. So our code is going to look like this. So it's going to be select star from accounts where username is equal to admin and password is equal to AAA. Now this is wrong. Or 1 is equal to 1, which is right. So anytime you have an or, if the or condition is right, everything is right. That's the way or statement works. So select star from accounts where username is equal to admin. Okay, username is equal to admin. And password is equal to AAA. That's wrong. Or 1 is equal to 1. Okay, I'll accept that. And then it's actually going to execute it and let us log into the admin without even knowing the password for the admin. So let's try to inject this now. And as you can see, I was able to log in as admin and monkey is the signature for the admin. Now, bypassing logins can be done in so many ways, depending on the code that's written on the page and depending on the way you want to do it and how you're imagining the code. In a lot of the cases, when you put the single quote here, you won't see this message. Sometimes you do see it, which makes your job so much easier. If you don't, then you kind of need to guess what it looks like. So I'm going to show you another example of bypassing. Instead of injecting the code like this, the admin parameter is actually injectable as well. As you've seen when I put the single quote, the admin parameter is injectable exactly the same way as the password. So we can inject code in the username as well. And what I'm going to do now, so let's have a look on this. And I'm just going to reset it to the way it would usually look like. So you'd have, and the username and the password are the fields that whatever you put in here are going to be substituted in the username and the password. So let's try to inject something in the username. And what I'm going to say is I'm going to say username is equal to admin. And then I'm going to close the quote myself. And then I'm going to add a comment. So my statement, when I run this statement, it's going to look like this. And I'm actually just going to copy it here. And when I put this code in here in my name, it's going to inject that in there. So this is what the code is going to look like. It's going to select star from accounts where username is equal to admin. I close the quote myself here using this right there. And then I'm adding a comment. So basically all of this is not even going to be executed. So the code is going to be this. It's going to be select star from accounts where username is equal to admin. And it's going to let me log in without even entering anything in the password. So let's do this. I'm going to put my username as admin. And I close the quote and add a comment. And then you can put any password you want really. I'm just going to put number 1. And I'm going to log in. And as you can see, I managed to log in as admin. So again, this is black box testing, so you don't really see the code. In many cases, you want to be playing around with it and see how it works with you. But the main thing is you want to test if the SQL injection exists, and you'd use that using the method we showed you in the previous video. So try a single quote, try the AND statement, try a true AND statement, so 1 is equal to 1, and then a false AND statement, so 1 is equal to 0 or 2 is equal to 0. And if they work as expected, then your target has an SQL injection and you can start playing around with it. Okay, now I'd like to show you an SQL injection in a different file, in a different page, and I'll show you a few different things that you can do to exploit that vulnerability. So the first thing, I'm going to go to the login page, which is in here, user info. So the first time we went to the login page, from there, this time we went to the user info page. So this page will show you the information about the user, provided you give the username and password. So I'm gonna do Zaid, and I'm gonna put my password 123456, and it'll show my details, username and password, and my signature is AAA. So the statement that's being executed here is similar to what was being executed when you log in. So it's selecting star from accounts, where username is what you put in the user field, and password is what you put in the password field. So what we're going to do now is we're going to see a different way of exploiting this kind of vulnerability. In the previous video, we were doing it using a post text box. So whatever you put in the text box was being posted using a post method to the web application. Now, these vulnerabilities can exist into GET. And what I mean by GET is when you do a GET, when something is sent as GET, you will see it here in the URL. So if you look at the URL here, you see it's being sent as the username Zaid and password 123456. So let me just copy this URL here, and we'll start playing with it from the URL instead of doing it on the web page. I just want to show you a different example, because in many places there might not even be text boxes. For example, it could be something like news and news.php. So we can see here, for example, in this example, it's index.php. And in your pen testing, you might see something like news.php. And for example, ID is equal to 2. And then you can try to inject stuff in there. So we're having an example here where we're going to be injecting things into the username field, which is this field. And we're going to be injecting stuff in here. So anytime when you're doing your pen test, anytime you see parameters like this, you should try to inject them. Anytime you see something.php and then you have a parameter equals something, then always try to inject stuff in there and see if it works for you. So we also seen a way of discovering the injection, and that was using the quotation mark and using the AND. So we do a false AND and a true and 1 is equal to 1, and then and 1 is equal to 2. And if the server is executing what we want, then we're going to know that there's an SQL injection. I'm going to show you another way of discovering these exploits, and it's using the order by. As the name suggests, the order by statement is used to order the results that we get on the screen based on a specific column. So our injection is going to be like this. So I'm gonna do order by 1. So this, if the injection exists, this should work, because in each select statement there should be at least one column is being selected. Therefore, when we say order by 1, we're saying I want to order the results based on the first column. Therefore, this should always be acceptable by the database and return a true or something that we expect. We also need to add the comment in here and execute this code. So it's exactly like before. So when we're doing this, basically, this is our URL. And what's going to happen on the database, so this is the code that's being executed on the database, it's going to look like this. So it's going to be select star from accounts where username is equal to Zaid, and note how this is closing the quote, and we're going to do an order by 1, and there should be this code here for the end. And this comment will tell the SQL interpreter that to ignore anything that comes in after it. So all of this is going to be ignored. So I'm copying this. So you can actually paste this injection for Zaid order by 1 into the name right here, and that's going to work. But again, I just want to show you a different way of doing it by injecting it through the browser. Another thing that I want you to note is when you're injecting stuff into the browser, the code should be encoded. So for example, this sign usually, when you put it on the URL, it should be written as %23. Spaces, for example, get converted to %20, and %23 is the comment that we're using. So I'm gonna copy that and replace my comment sign with it. Now you can Google HTTP encoder and you'll see online, there's online tools that will just convert this for you. For me now, I know that the hashtag can be converted to %23, so that's why I'm using it there. And I'm gonna hit enter. And as you can see now, we're seeing something that's acceptable. Nothing wrong, and then it's showing me the information about Zaid 123456 and showing me the signature. So it is ignoring the password, so the injection worked, and it's ordering by 1, so it's not showing me anything wrong. Let's try to make this number 1 a very large number. So I'm putting 10,000 or 100,000 now. So what we're saying right now is I want you to order the results that will be returned by the current select statement based on column 100,000. Now chances are there aren't 100,000 columns used in this select statement, and therefore this should return an error. So when I execute this, you'll see that there's an error, and the error is in the order clause, and it's telling us that there is an unknown column for 100,000. And this is great because now we know that the database is executing what we want. So when we told it to order the results based on the first column, it showed us results. So it followed what we told it. And then when we told it to order the results based on a column that does not exist, it gave us an error. So it's obviously vulnerable to SQL injections. Okay, so now let's try and determine how many columns are being selected into this page. So how much information are being selected and displayed on this page. So to do that, we're going to use the order by command. So we did order by 1 and that returned something that was acceptable, and order by 100,000 gave us an error. So let's try and do order by 10 and we still get an error. So I'm gonna do an order by 5 and that works. So let's try to do an order by 6 and that gives an error. So by doing this, we know that there is 5 columns are being selected from a certain table, and it's the accounts table, and displayed on this page. So let's try and build our own select statement and get it to be executed on the target computer. So let's come here and try to build it there. So at the moment, the statement is select star from accounts where your username is equal to Zaid, and we're doing an order by 1. So let's see if we can fix that and get it to select something that we like. So the normal way to select stuff is using this format. But because we're trying to do multiple selects and we're trying to do it from the URL, we're gonna have to use a union first, and then we're gonna say select. Then we need to imagine what's happening on this application. So in this web application, we know that there are 5 records being selected. So there are 5 columns that are being selected. So we're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we got that from the order by command. So let's run this and see what happens. And I spelled union wrong. And as you can see now, the selection was right, and we got the first selection. So the first selection that this line does has been done, and then it did the union. So it combined that selection with another selection, and it showed us something else. And as you can see here, we're only seeing 2, 3, and 4. And what that means is whatever value you put in number 2 or 3 or 4, whatever you want to select, if you put it in there, it's going to be displayed in this page in this particular location. And you can see that here you have results for 2, so whatever you put in 2 will also be shown in here. So let's try to see our database. So instead of number 2, I'm gonna say database. And instead of number 3, I'm gonna say username or user. And instead of number 4, I'm gonna do version. And this will select the current database, the current user privileges that we have, and the version of the database. So let's see if this gets executed and then we'll talk about it. Okay, cool. So the username is showing up as OWASP10, and that was number 2. So that is the database that we're looking for. So the database is OWASP10. The current user that we're logged in as is root at localhost. So we're the root user. And in the signature, these stuff actually don't mean anything. We're only concerned about this and what we injected. And we injected the version, and we can see this is the version of MySQL, so it's 5.0.51. So at the moment, we know that our database that we're connected to is OWASP10. Usually, in most real-life scenarios, each database is assigned to a certain user. So usually, you're only able to select stuff, tables, columns, data that is located in this current database. At the moment, we're logged in as root, so this web application has been connected to the database as root. So therefore, we can actually access other databases, but this doesn't really happen in real life scenarios. Usually each user has their own database. So when they connect a web application to a database, they connect it to one database, and therefore you won't be able to access other databases. So we're going to consider that. We're going to assume that we only have access to OWASP10, which is our current database for this current website, and then the username is root at localhost. In the next videos, we'll see how we can further exploit this and do more powerful select statements.